So, hello, here we are again, one more week, taking advantage of the lockdown. And here with me is my friend, Craig Wealand, and he's
Hello, everybody.
.com. Remember that? MonsioInglés.com, one of the best pages on the internet. And also check his podcast, inglespodcast.com. I don't know if you know about it, but it's a very, very good podcast.
Thank you.
And now also you can check Blog del Inglés, where you'll find a lot of resources. I'm the author of Blog del Inglés and Blog del Inglés. And well, there you'll find not only resources, but Skype classes and many other things. Okay, so let's see who's coming. Olga, Gemma, thank you very much for your loyalty every week here. No? So what is the topic for today? Let's see. We have a kind of strange topic, but I find it very useful. So what are fillers? Fillers. And in Spanish, we use the word muletilla. So it's a word that you repeat constantly because when you're speaking, everybody does this. Sometimes you don't know what you want to say. You're looking for the words, and then you go and make a noise, or you use a word. So what can you say about that? What are fillers, Craig? Craig is an expert because he did a study, I must say. So he's going to be our expert today, and I'm going to interview him. Okay?
Because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to bore you too much because I did do a lot of research on this, but very basically, fillers have different uses, and we could just say they're disfluencies. They're any time where the flow of speech is interrupted. So any time where your flow, how do you say flow in Spanish, Monica? Flujo? Of the language. Yeah. Anytime that stops for a reason, then that's a disfluency. And you probably know because of the ers and the ums and the ahs, those noises people make in every language when you're thinking of vocabulary, for example, or when you're speaking and you want to let people know that you're speaking. So you make these noises, but you could also repeat syllables. You could repeat certain phrases. You could begin a sentence and then start the sentence again. So there are many different ways of causing disfluencies, but we wanted to look specifically at some words today that might help you when you're speaking, and most of all, to make you aware, to make you know if you're using these disfluencies and how you can improve your English by using them, or more importantly, by not using them or by using them less. So that's basically what disfluencies are. Yeah.
So we're going to talk more about filler words and the ones that are, nobody can avoid them, but the ones that are sounds, because it's really sounds. In Spanish, we have the same problem in every language. And here, Craig wrote the ums and you go.
Or if you're Spanish, the and the and the
we say always I say, and one of the first things I say to my students when they're preparing a presentation or an interview, I say, please avoid the just be quiet. Don't say in between every sentence you say.
Exactly. Leave a pause. Just leave silence, because sometimes silence, a short pause, is much better for the listener than those noises. And I must tell you this story because it's a true story that happened to me many years ago. I was asked to be a best man at a wedding. I have a very good friend in the UK, and I was one of two best men. So there was me and another friend, and we were both the best men at a wedding. And we both had to give a speech because, you know, in the UK, when you're a best man, you need to give a speech for the bride, for the groom, and tell a story. And I was practicing before the wedding with my friend, and I said my speech, and my friend said, "That was okay, Craig, that was fine. Now repeat it without saying or and every 2 seconds," because I had no idea I was using these every second word. And you need to record yourself on your phone and listen and see if you're doing it, and then try to improve and try to make these noises a lot less, because they can be very, very annoying.
Yes, this is the first thing, is that you're not even aware of. You're not aware that you're doing those, you're making the sounds or saying words that you shouldn't say. I wanted to say hello to Sarah also, and to Siha. They're always here.
Hello.
Okay, so the many times when you don't even realize, so somebody has to say it to you. Please stop saying that. Okay, so we had a friend, Craig and I have a friend that always was saying, you know. It was just a way of speaking, you know? Because sometimes I said to Craig, sometimes it's not that you're using the word as a filler. Sometimes when you're learning English, what you do, you just imitate the native speakers. So you just reproduce what they say. And in that speech, there are many fillers. So I was telling Craig that when I went to school in the United States, I was always, because I was a teenager, and everybody said, really? Every other word was a really. So it's like, we're going out, really? No, that's not really. And I didn't really understand what they meant, but I thought, okay, you have to just use that word every 2 words, you say really. And that's the way it went. I just started saying really all the time, because I wanted to blend in with the crowd. I wanted to feel integrated in a group. No?
So Monica, so you were using really in the meaning of, like, for surprise. In Spanish, you'd say,
yeah, sometimes it's for surprise, but sometimes not. It just didn't mean anything. It was just like another word that is very funny that people use is like, without any meaning. Because like has 2 meanings, to like, gusta, and like, como. But as a filler, it's just, when can we meet, Craig? And say, well, like, we can meet like 2 o'clock? Or like,
well,
and you
I don't know. Because
like...
like maybe like, I suppose like we could. It's also very common in the US. I noticed that in American English, like is used very, very often.
But the universal one is you know. This is universal for all the people that speak English, native
and in
speakers.
Spanish, it would be sabes, because I know some Spanish speakers who have sabes as a disfluency. They overuse it. So they'll say, sabes, sabes, every second word is sabes. Estoy estudiando inglés, sabes? All the time, sabes.
Sometimes you get people saying those. I cannot think of any other filler in Spanish. Sometimes it's the word cosa. It depends also on the country, because the different countries use different words. But we were talking about this before we started this Facebook Live, and we said that the problem is to overuse these words. It's not like you can use them, no? Great.
Yep.
But what you cannot do is to overuse them. Another one is okay.
The secret is to be aware, ser consciente, that you're using them. Yeah. Isabel, hi, she's joined us, and she says that she also does it. She also uses disfluencies. We'd be interested to know if you know, people in the chat room, people watching this, do you have disfluencies in English or in Spanish? And which ones do you use? Which ones do you use too much? If you can't think of vocabulary, if you can't think what to say, how do you fill the silence? What disfluencies do you use? Okay. Do you use okay a lot as a filler word, Monica?
Yeah, but I know one that uses okay a lot.
You know someone?
My son, when he talks to me all the time, okay. That's more American. I think it's more American to say that, okay, all the time. Okay. So, well, sometimes it's phrases like, I mean. But I mean is more like, I mean, it gives time to think, and then you say something that makes sense, no? But sometimes it doesn't make sense, because it's true. Sometimes people say, no, well, I mean. Well, we know what you mean, Craig, we know what you mean. Why are you saying I mean all the time? I don't know.
If you're paraphrasing something, if you want to clarify, then by all means, use I mean. For example, what I mean to say is, so you're clarifying what you said before, and you're paraphrasing what you said in a clearer way, then by all means, use I mean. The problem is when people use it, I mean, what I mean to say is I mean, and then I mean. And so constantly reusing the same word becomes annoying, and it affects the listener in a negative way.
Then I guess, I suppose. And the British people have I reckon. I've heard this.
Yeah.
I reckon all the time. I reckon. This is also something. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I heard my husband saying this a lot. I reckon. Not a lot, but sometimes. Yeah. This I guess, without any meaning. Okay, because I guess has a meaning. Supongo, no?
Supongo, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Supongo. I guess we could do another time. I guess. I guess it's not okay. This is
that's interesting because on the podcast with Reza recently, I thought that I guess is more in American English, and I suppose is more used in British English for supongo. But Reza, who's from Northern Ireland, said no, in Northern Ireland it's more common to use I guess. So that really surprised me. Really, you can use both words to mean the same thing, supongo. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I suppose so. But they are interchangeable. Yeah.
But I reckon also is.
I reckon is more. I in my opinion, or I think. I reckon that it's going to rain tomorrow.
It's more that I think it's similar to I think. You mean. But it's British for me. It's totally British because I
definitely British. No, yeah.
That's not American. Nobody says I reckon. Then we have these sounds. We already talked about them. So, Craig, it's funny because if you read them in Spanish, it has nothing to do because it's the but what they mean is it's like this and what are you saying? So it's these are sounds really, and this is equivalent to in Spanish, and in Spanish from Spain, because in other countries. I think we will have different vowel sounds, like instead of a, and Spanish from Spain is a. Sure. Okay, now we have another one. Well, I was trying to tell you something, but you didn't pay attention to me. So, well.
So it can mean pues or entonces, right? The meaning can be translated in Spanish to pues entonces. Well, in that case, I think I'll stay at home. Or, well, let's see what happens tomorrow. So it could be translated as pues entonces. But of course, it has other meanings. As an adverb, it can mean, how are you? Are you well? Are you feeling well? Or I sing well. As an adverb to qualify a verb. He's a good singer. He sings well. But as a disfluency at the beginning of a phrase or an expression, it could be in a similar use to the Spanish pues entonces, which is also sometimes used too much as well. That can be a problem.
Same as this is Craig's.
This is my the word I hate. Because this is my crutch word. This is my disfluency. And I overuse this word at beginning of sentences. So I want to say that. So I'm really focusing now on saying so a lot less. And you really have to work at it. It's really, first you have to identify your disfluencies, your filler words. And then you have to focus on stopping using them too much. And when you feel you're going to say it, just leave a silence, just leave a pause. Don't say anything. And that's quite difficult.
Yeah, but it's quite difficult because I suppose when you use a sound, you calm down. You don't want to completely be quiet because it's like like there's this strange atmosphere, especially if you're in an interview. Suppose you're in an interview and they ask you a question and you don't know where to go, and you go like,
That's very interesting. Let me share something, because I've noticed that my bosses in my language school, they go on management courses, and I am sure 100% that on these management courses, they teach them the silent pause. They teach them to be quiet, because I've been in some meetings where my boss is saying nothing, waiting for me to speak. And you can play a game. If you're in that situation, you can be quiet also and wait for the other person to speak. Who can suffer the silence more? Why do we need to speak all the time? Why do we need to fill these silences with crutch words and fillers, or even worse, say something we don't want to say? And I think that's really, really interesting. If you're in a situation where maybe your boss is trying to get some information from you, or you're in a situation where you're maybe speaking too much, just wait, take a deep breath, and don't say anything, and smile and wait for the other person to speak. That's a good technique.
I think it's quite difficult. I wanted to show here, Siham says, I do it and I use it really. I haven't realized this until now. And then also, Gemma saying, are you really in Spanish? ¿En serio? ¿En serio? Yeah, that's another. Really could be translated as ¿en serio?
Really?
Really? Yeah.
Really? That's very useful, because that really, or in serio, is very useful when you're having a conversation and you want to let the other person know you're listening, you're paying attention, you're interested in what the person's saying. Really? So that's good. That's really good. But don't use it too much, because then it starts to become noticed, and just try and think of other words you could use in place of really. Like, you don't say, or that's interesting. So other expressions and phrases that mean something similar to show interest, but not keep repeating the same words over and over again.
Kind of dummy. It's like you're stupid. I don't know, when you keep saying really, really, it's like you have nothing in your head. Okay, so Isabel is asking, so y well, muy, very similar.
Really?
Yeah. I think so.
Well, as I said before, so well can be an adverb to describe how healthy you are. You're feeling well. Yes, I'm not very well today. It could be used, as we said, like a filler word to precede something, like, well, I'm not sure. You're hesitating, so you use well. So can be an intensifier, like I feel so hungry, which in Spanish will be muy. I feel so hungry. I'm so excited. I'm so interested in this topic, for example. What other uses are there? Can you think of any, Monica? También. I like English, and so does Monica. Monica también. Yep.
So, no, but so and well, but I think they coincide in only one meaning, but they have different meanings, actually.
Yes.
What I'm saying, the well has many other different meanings, and so is así pues. So you can also say so in English. So, like, are you okay? So.
Así.
Así.
I think so. I don't think so.
All right, let me put another question here. Sarah, I use a lot to be honest. To be frank or to be honest. Yeah, it doesn't really mean anything. I mean, because you're not honest.
Exactly. If you say to be honest, does that mean all the other times you're not honest? You're usually dishonest, but just now you're being honest? Why would you?
In Spanish, we would say something like, para ser honesto, something like that. But I don't use it too much. I don't think I ever use that sentence. But to be honest, this also can become, in English, can become a filler. But I find to be honest or to be frank, it's just a pause for the second sentence. I don't find it so much as a filler. But
maybe more of a linking word to prepare the listener for what you're going to say.
Yeah. To prepare the, yes, it's a more link. Let's see another keyword. This one is a good one. And this is, I would like to mention this word because actually doesn't mean actualmente. I repeat this many, many times because this is a false friend. I would like our viewers to just comment, what is the real meaning of actually? Does anybody know what is the real meaning of actually? Because it's not actualmente. So I wanted to say actually is also, it's like really. It's the same, no?
De verdad.
We use it like that. How do we use it?
We can use it, for example, we can use it as a Spanish translation of de verdad. Like my surname, my family name looks English, but actually it's Scottish.
Wealand.
Yeah,
is Scottish.
Actually it's Scottish, which I think you translate as de verdad, would you?
De verdad, o realmente. Yeah. No,
realmente. Yeah.
Actually, la verdad es que, yeah, actually.
Another use which is similar but not exactly the same. For example, at the moment I'm teaching online. I'm teaching like this using a video camera and a microphone. I'm teaching from home, but I'm really looking forward to actually teaching in class. I'm looking forward to actually seeing students face to face. So it's a bit different, but it's slightly different.
If you want to say actualmente in English, what would you say, Craig?
At the moment?
At the moment. Currently.
Presently.
Not this word, please.
Yeah. So it can be a false friend.
I am studying English. Actually, I'm studying English. No, currently, at the moment, now. Okay, this two. Olga, good. Realmente. That's the meaning of actually. We have another one here. Seriously. Wait, some people like to say seriously.
Seriously? With rising intonation.
Yeah. Seriously? Says seriously? Well, in Spanish would be something like the same as really. De verdad, yeah. Though serious means grave. The adjective, because this is an adverb, no? So seriously means verdad, but serious is serio or grave, no? For example, a serious illness, no?
Mm-hmm.
And I would also like to mention this one. This is also something very American.
Yeah.
This also, there is one function, kind of, and for me, I have trouble translating these words because in Spanish we do not have a very good translation of these words. Kind of and sort of is an expression we use. Is I would say to make an adjective less intensive, to try to diminish the intensity of some words.
Or to make something more vague, it's like vague language. Instead of giving an exact number, you would say several, like there were several people, instead of saying there were 6 people. So in a similar way, you could say it's hot, or you can say, well, it's kind of hot, or it's sort of exciting. So you're making it, as Monica said, weaker. Más flojo. You're de-intensifying the noun.
And then this, for example, you're describing a person and you don't want to sound rude, and you say, well, he's kind of fat. Something like that. You will say, he's kind of... Okay, this is, and in Spanish we say, bueno, en cierto modo, puede decirse que es un poco gordo. Like, you don't want to say that, no? This is what the meaning. These two words mean the same, kind of and sort of. But if you keep saying all the time the same, it doesn't have really a meaning.
Yeah. Also, I'll add one more thing to that, Monica, that if you are studying English and you need to give a presentation as somebody who is kind of an expert in your field and you want to speak with authority, don't use these words, because they, as Monica said, they really make what you're saying sound weaker. So some people are very insecure and they would say, oh, this is kind of what I do for a living, or this is sort of my profession. No, it's your profession. It's what you do. It really does make your professionality weaker. It makes your authority weaker to use this vague language when you're speaking in public.
Yeah, but because when you're speaking in public, if you use too many of these fillers, it really sounds like you don't really know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's the first thing, if you notice, politicians, they get training, they get special training for this, because public speaking is quite difficult, really. It seems easy, but it's not so easy. And the reason is because if you should avoid all these these words, and you should be careful about how you say the things, because then later you're going to be interviewed by the journalist, and they're going to ask difficult questions. So if you don't know exactly what you're saying, or you have a doubt about what you're saying, then it's going to be a big problem. It can create a big issue. And even knowing what you're saying, you can have trouble. So politicians, for example, need to do this. Teachers also, because teachers copy what, like us, we copy, the students copy what we say. So we have to be careful with these fillers and not overuse them, like Craig said.
And if you, an interesting exercise, if you go to watch some TED presentations, TED, on YouTube or on the TED website, and you watch people giving presentations, you will not hear many of the expressions and filler words that we've been talking about today, because people who speak publicly and give presentations, they work on not using these filler words. And we wanted to speak about this today because we think it's really important at some point when you're at a job interview in English, or you need to give a presentation in English. It's really important to practice now, to start practicing now in not using or overusing some of these filler words.
Yeah. So anything else you want to, because I think we went over all our list. There are many more, but not as important. I think we mentioned the most important ones. So there are other expressions also that we normally use just to continue speaking, but in a more educated way, a more professional way, like in fact, as a matter of fact, what I'm trying to say, this kind of linking sentences or phrases that help you to continue with your speech. But those are not so bad. They're not. I don't think it's so much fillers. I think it's also a way of talking, no? To get, for example, to get the person to repeat. Also, can you say that again, or when you didn't understand something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, everything is good, but as your level of English improves, you need to vary your vocabulary and not keep repeating the same words and expressions. So always think of 2 or 3 words or phrases that say more or less the same thing. And one thing you can do to practice, as I mentioned at the beginning, record yourself speaking for 1 minute in English. Speak about a topic and then listen back and listen for these filler words. Are you using too often? It's okay to do it a little, but does it become annoying? Are you using it too much? And then record yourself again and try to improve it 5, 6, 7 times. Keep recording your voice, keep recording how you're speaking in English, and try to avoid using too many of these filler words.
And also, if you're having an interview, a job interview. By the way, Craig has very good material on job interviews. So visit mansiondelingles.com and you'll find it. Job interviews. He has a PDF and an audio. So for job interviews, it's also very important to learn how to use these fillers if you're going to use them, or not to use them, because it also gives immediately it gives an idea about your level. No.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're more or less done, no?
Yeah, if there are no more questions, we'll leave it there. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, there are more. I hope we both hope you enjoy this. Later, I write a post on blog about this, so you can have it written in Spanish. And I usually write it in Spanish so that everybody can understand.
Where can people see that, Monica? Can you put the banner up so that people know where to go to read your blog post?
Yes, this is going to be here. You can next week you'll have it on Blog del Inglés. So and I also upload the video, so you can follow the video, and you can more or less the same ideas, no, the same ideas that we talked about here. So anything else? And remember, Mansión Inglés for job interviews. You need material, you can find it there. And if you want to listen to very nice British English that everybody can understand, English podcast.
Thank you.
Okay.
And if you're interested in this idea of disfluency, I did do an episode with my co-host Reza on disfluencies. So at inglespodcast.com, search for disfluencies in the search box, and that will take you right to the podcast. If you want to go deeper and you want to learn more about exactly what disfluencies are and how to improve your speaking.
If you want English classes, Skype English classes, you can contact us here in this website. Skype, so on Skype. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much for coming. Oh, there's one more comment there. I don't know, want to see. Thanks. Thanks to you.
Thanks, Ilam.
Always. Okay, so thank you, and see you again next week. We hope to see you next week in Mansión del Inglés.
And stay safe, everyone. Take care.
Stay safe. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye.